learning that no one is a slave in marriage. We are both equal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shay. And finally, on this segment, on this topic, would have Ade speak to the topic on ground.
Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First, I want to apologize for joining late. I'm visiting Nigeria, so I'm connecting from here. I had to do some preliminary tech setup. So please bear with me if some of the thoughts that I would offer are things that folks have already said. I sincerely apologize. I missed that section. So about differential socialization, I think the first bullet point on the flyer that Kyle sent to me is talks about like why do we raise girls differently from boys, and to a large extent, I want to invite us to please consider some of these thoughts. Now, I've been in certain spaces where certain people would say, I do not see color, right? Especially, in Western climes, America, in a place like America, the UK, Canada, I do not see color. I see everybody as just human beings. And so, I don't believe that, racism exists. I think we should just treat everybody as human beings and just leave it at that. Now, while I see some value in that ideology, it is as a Black man who's lived in America for a few years now, I also see that as being problematic, because one of the things that comes with that kind of paradigm is that it erases the individual lived experiences, right, that people have that could decide on which side of the law they are on, whether it's the side of the law where, the color of law is white or the color of law is Black. Now, I think that differential training, might be useful as long as it serves the purpose of acknowledging and redressing misogynistic patriarchy. And I'll say that again. And I have the honor of being married, to my best friend, and I have two beautiful daughters, right? Whom, Kawadi and I quite know very well. So I think, and I'll say that again, that differential training, and I'm not saying, gender training per se, differential training might help us, as long as it acknowledges, all right, and seeks to redress misogynistic patriarchy, all right. For example, the last time Okwe and I had this conversation, Kaldi and I rather, I told them that now I believe that men and women are, so two things. There's the principle that I call fundamentalism and the principle of progressive functionalism. Now, men and women, men and women are equal, but I think that to an extent that how we'll function, the woman is not a neck, how we'll function is something that might shift and might change from time to time, all right? I do the dishes for my wife, not because I'm trying to help my wife. No, I do the dishes, all right? Because at that point in time, that is the, contribution, right, that I'm bringing to the unity and the progress of our home. If a month from now, it is, if I'm required to cook, all right, I do that not because, again, I'm trying to help my wife, cook, right? I do that because, again, I'm available to do it, and to an extent, I'm a good cook, and at that time, that is how much I'm able to contribute. Okay, I see Kyle is giving me thumbs up. Okay, can I say something real quick about joint account?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So for us, we practice a joint account, all right? Now, and so I think I can't remember which of the contributors said something about about everything being in a state of flux, like things changing, right? Now, I think having a growth mindset helps us in a way. If at a season in your marriage, having a joint account is what is, or your relationship, right? For those who are not married, if at that particular season, having a joint account is what both of you come together to talk about, and you identify as being, pivotal to promoting the health, of your relationship, then I think that's fine. But if in another season, based on the uniqueness of what you guys might be dealing with, your budgetary, constraints and all of that, you realize that, practicing a bit of joint account and individual account is what is going to help you guys. Then I don't think anyone has a right to legislate as far as your relationship is concerned, what is good for you or what is not good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that intervention. Now, because of our time, we have to pivot to the last topic of the day, which is the question of bride price. I feel like this is the most contentious aspect of the forum. By God's grace, there won't be Bode Kaja fight. It's just we'll keep it civil and we'll try to understand and hear one another out. All right, so Mosu and yours sincerely will be speaking to this topic. Mosu and I have talked about this for years. And
so you are the second person. You are wicked.
And we've never agreed on it. So I think it's better that we come and wash our dirty linen in public today. Mosu, so you go first.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to speak as a Yoruba person, and I'm also speaking based on how I understand Yoruba culture from my family's perspective. So first, I'm just going to give a brief of like what the wedding process is like. So first, there's this thing called Ifojusode, and this is where mostly the guy starts basically putting his eyes everywhere, like, oh, okay, where's the sweet looking lady that I would like to be my wife? And then the lady as well will also be, she'll have a light on, and then when the two of them meet at the junction of, okay, I'm interested in you, they'll come together. And then the next thing for the guy to do is to meet somebody called Alarino, and then this person is the one that would do Iwadi. And the lady as well, at her end, she'll also be interacting with that Alarino, and the person would do findings about the husband's family. Then they can also have another alarino for the guy is going to do, well, the prospective husband and wife. So they'll be doing findings to know whether the family has, different diseases and stuff like that, and spiritual stuff as well. Because yes, you're getting married to the person, but you also want to ensure that you're going into the marriage, like, with an understanding of the person's background. And then we have something called the Ishiun. I think, yeah, that's the next thing. Ishiun, which is where the lady says yes or no. And then finally we have Itoro, which is the introduction, and then Igbeyawo. So Igbeyawo is like the wedding proper. And on the wedding day, so this is it. The families have been doing background research about each other, about the groom, about the prospective bride as well. Then Igbeyawo is when they come together, where they meet officially. And the idea is the groom's family goes to the bride's family, right? If you are going to visit somebody, please, can you answer me? What would you do? You are going to visit somebody. What would you do? Can anybody answer?
You go along with gifts.
Thank you very much. So like you're going is the most, what did you say, Ayo?
I said you go.
You dress well.
You go. If you go, they will look at you too.
You go with gifts, but not mandatory gifts with written on list.
Let me just continue. So you go with gifts, right? And this is it. When you go with gifts, is you first showing appreciation, and secondly, showing appreciation that the family has welcomed you, and also it's the decent thing to do. And when it's also you showing that yes, we are a good family. Like, look at what we brought with us. That's the first part. Now, the second thing that I want you to know as well is the bride's family is required to host the groom's family. That's how it is done. Not that it's the groom's family that will be hosting the bride's family. If the groom's family decide that, oh, we want to support in the hosting, maybe we want to, in today's world, we want to rent the hall, or we want to serve drinks, or we want to do one or two things. We want to buy the drinks or whatever. That's based on their discretion. You find the groom's family where they will do, what do they call this? They will share souvenir and stuff like that. is their own discretion. But the required thing is that the bride's family should host the wedding. And this is what I grew up with. My aunties and everything, we were the ones that will cook. Like the cooking will start 2 days before, because you expect the groom's family to arrive into the family house and all. So that is that. So for me, and the reason I did all this intro and everything is just to explain how for Yoruba people it's a give and take thing, because the idea is that's the most decent and most logical thing to do. You don't want to put the burden on one family. And if you look at it well, if you look at the list that Blessing mentioned earlier, and you look at the expenses that will be spent on the wedding, actually the bride's family, they actually do more than the groom's family. Then there's this aspect of paying money, right? Where they'll say, oh, the bride price. Me, I don't even call it this whole thing the bride price. I call it bride's gifts, right? And for the money aspect, for Yoruba people, once they give them money, they return it and say, no, we are not selling our daughter. There are some that will say, oh, we just want something symbolic. Like me, I would like them to do like a gold coin that I know will be very expensive and all. So in conclusion, it's just the most decent thing to do, and it's just, two families coming together and paying respect to each other. Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mosun. Please, someone should please keep the time for me, because I don't want to take more than 5 minutes. So I want to start with a comment that Tosin made a few minutes ago. And he said that until we both let go of the advantages that patriarchy gives us, right? I mean, both genders, both men and women, and we begin to rebuild new systems based on the realities of our relationships, that is when we can actually start this process. I think that is a profound point, right? And I like that. For me, honestly, I believe that bride price is one of the small perks that patriarchy has given women. And that is appealing to them. It's appealing to them to say, oh, somebody is bringing money on my head. But I'm like, women suffer in marriage, right? And then they feel disempowered because the men feel like, I bought you. I shared the story of someone that I know whose husband will say, you were bought with a price, right? And I like that Mosun was going back to tradition. But I think that is selective tradition, right? Because nobody does Ishun, Iyo, Kiniko, all those things that Mosun was saying. Nobody does that again. People meet on Facebook, people meet in the bars, people meet when they go to the university. Okay. So, I mean, the fact that we are selecting what we want to choose from tradition is interesting. And I understand that we are all driven by needs and desires. Whatever speaks to our interest is what we want to hold on to from tradition. And then to the question of the bride's family hosts the groom's family, that is true, ideally. But we'll find out that today that is not true. A lot of weddings that we see today are done by the couple, supposedly. In some cases, it's even the guy that takes care of everything, right? And I understand where that is coming from. It's also because of a patriarchal system that has empowered men over women, where men get better paying jobs, or men are better situated financially to take care of such expenses. And so what I see is we are just choosing what appeals to us in tradition, right? Like Mosun said, the groom's family should not even have anything to do with the party. They should not have to cook. They should not have to do anything. But that is not what happens today. Today, we see that it is the husband, it is the groom and the bride that have to figure out which order are we using. Most likely it's the groom that will pay for that. And that is wrong. It is the bride's family that is hosting, and so should take care of that. And then I feel like we are always quick to say, hey, it's just 20,000 or 10,000 that is the bride price. But that is not true. Like when you calculate all the tubers of yam, all the traveling boxes, and so many other things that have to come, some men spend close to 500,000 naira just on the bride price alone. And then